As INFPs, we can be really hard on ourselves, so much that we constantly create and deal with this inner critic, this voice that we need to be less emotional or stronger or more organized, or that we can't do anything right, that we're broken, and it really sucks. And as someone who has coached over 100 INFPs one-on-one, and many of them more than one times, I've seen again and again how hard we can be on ourselves. And so you might be wondering, what can I do to have more love, more self-care for myself, to appreciate these aspects of myself? And actually, before that, you're probably wondering, how do I just stop being so squishy? How do I stop being so, head in the clouds or flaky, or, I can't finish anything? How do I be more productive? Well, it comes from appreciating yourself and loving those different aspects of yourself. And I'm going to tell you about a way that I often use both for myself and with clients, and it's something that we talked about in a recent group coaching session within Evolve. If you're interested in having more support from me and a bunch of other INFPs and friends of INFPs, go to evolve.geekpsychology.com and you can get access to everything. Anyway, so the first thing is to realize that you are actually creating this voice within yourself, within your mind. And you're creating what your physiology and your psychology is reacting to. Okay? So for example, if you think of something that you like, you're creating an image of that. And maybe there's like a video with it or a sound attached to it. And there's a location within mental space, within your proprioceptive grid, that contains that information. Okay? And if you adjust that, if you change that, then your neurology adjusts as well, and your interaction with that stuff adjusts as well. So, to ground it a little bit more, when we were in that group coaching session, I was talking about most INFPs' reaction to money and how we feel about money. And I learned something on Mind Valley that was talking about, imagine that you're in a cafe, and imagine that you're waiting intently for money to show up. And the embodiment, the representation of money comes in. What does it look like? What does it smell like? How do they walk? Or what is it, right? What is that representation? And when I originally did this exercise, it was maybe 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and it was this big green oozy blob. It was disgusting. It smelled nasty, and I hated it. I did not like it. I was repulsed by it, and just that realization was enough for me to understand that my interaction with money was not what I wanted. Because if I'm repulsed by it, if I don't like it, if I think it's disgusting, and I have that image, that symbolic representation of it, well then of course I'm going to interact with it like that. And of course my reaction to it, my engagement with money and exchanging value for services is going to be a little bit different. Yeah? And so when you think about yourself, and you think about the parts that you like or don't like about yourself, I invite you to go through this exercise. Okay? Just imagine and pretend that that part of you is there. Okay? This is, again, something that we've done a bunch of times within coaching sessions, like that inner child, or that part of you that is weak or vulnerable, or that you don't like. Just imagine and pretend that it is somewhere around you, perhaps, or you're in a different location, and invite them to come out. Invite them to show themselves. Okay, the part of me that's responsible for procrastination, the part of me that is way too emotional, the part of me that is weak, please come out. Okay? Invite them to come out, and then be friends with it. Become friends with that part of yourself. Okay? It might seem difficult at the start, but you would likely extend the same courtesy to anybody else right? So do it to yourself as well. And have an interaction with them, get to know them, get to understand them. What's their name? Who are they? Right? What do they look like? Likely you will get insights into how you are creating this construction of a negative voice, for example. Okay, maybe they're this like huge, towering beast that is very critical of you and shouting at you and yelling at you. Okay, well, that is not helpful, and you can invite them. Hi, how you doing? Can you, calm down a little bit? Let's talk this out. I want to get to know you. I'm curious about you. Like, what do you hear? What do you do for me? That is one of the biggest questions that you can ask is, what do you do for me? Or what is your intention for me? Likely, in that case, it's like, I want you to be stronger. Okay, well, thank you. What does that do for us? Like, for what reason? Oh, so you don't get hurt. Oh, okay. Well, I'm 41 years old now. I'm not really worried about getting hurt in that sense. I can handle myself. I've learned a lot. Did you know that I'm 41 years old? Right? This is me talking to that part, okay? Educate the part on what you want to do, who you are, what your goals are, what your actual goals are. What do you want? And invite them to join you on the journey and support you into getting that stuff. Ask them if there's anything that they want or need and support them. And if they don't want to do that job or they don't want to change, there's likely another part or another reason why that's happening. And so investigate. Be curious about yourself, which you can do endlessly as an INFP. So don't worry about having to do it right. There's an endless amount of exploration that you can have. So pick those parts. I suggest going through the cognitive functions and personifying them. Introverted feeling, the soul, what's that like? Invite them to come out. And the explorer, extroverted intuition. Introverted sensing, the guardian, get them to come out. Extroverted thinking, the commander. Okay? And then the envoy, the mystic, the adventurer, and the adept, get them all to come out and have a nice conversation with those parts. And you will start creating new neurological connections. You'll have a different physical response to them. And you will have a different interaction with them. Because you must. Because you created it and you changed it. So there has to be a different result. And likely you'll have better relationships with other people too, because you've cleaned up some of that baggage with that negative stuff inside. Yeah? So if you want to have a better relationship with those different parts of yourself, have a relationship with them and see how it changes everything.